First off, I just want to start this by saying that in no way, shape, or form am I a pro at what I'm about to show you guys. I do know a good amount, so that's why I'm obviously making this video, but there are other people out there that know a lot more than me. So just know that going into it. Now, what this video is going to be about is sort of an introduction to modding. A lot of you guys were requesting that I make this video showing you guys how to mod your GTA game, because a lot of you guys see the mod videos that I've been showcasing, and you want to experience that for yourself. In addition to all that, I just want to say that the way I'm going to be showing you guys how to mod your GTA is not the only way that works. What I'm going to be taking you guys through is the manual installation of all of these mods. There are mod managers out there that will automate this process for you, but I don't know, sometimes that doesn't work. So I figured I would just go with the manual approach because it's up to you pretty much on if you get it to work or not. So again, if you do want to try out a mod manager, you don't want to do this stuff by hand, then go for it, but the way I'm going to be showing you is the manual method. Now, like I said, this is an introduction, so what we're going to be taking a look at is vehicles, which modify the .rpf files. We're also going to be taking a look at scripts, which are the .asi files, the .dll files, and I'll touch a little bit on the LUA files. And then we're going to be taking a look at the maps, which you may have seen some of the ones like Raven Rock, that's a .xml, and then some of the big ramps and mega ramps and stuff you've seen on other people's YouTube channels as well as mine are .inis, and I'll be taking a look at that. So the basics, what you're going to need to actually get this running. Well, one, you are going to need this program called OpenIV, and I will link all this stuff in the description. Go there and download it. Two, you're going to need something called ScriptHook V, so I will link this as well. It comes with a native trainer. I'll touch on that in a second. You don't need to use this one. It's the one that was the first one, but there are other trainers out there that I use instead. And then three, you're going to need community.scripthookv.net. This is for the scripts. Those are the three main files. Now, there are some other scripts in the game that require the LUA plugin as well as the Rage plugin. I'm not going to be covering these because these are a little bit more in-depth. And honestly, for me, I don't have any plugins or any scripts that need the LUA plugin or the Rage plugin. The Rage, I know, for example, if you use the LSPDFR mod, you're going to need this plugin. It's a little bit more complicated. Again, this is sort of just an introductory to modding, so maybe if you guys like this, there's enough support, a lot of you guys are asking for it, I'll go more in depth with this and the LUA plugin, but for now, we're just going to be taking a look at the ScriptHook V and then the ScriptHook V.net. Now, besides those things, like I said, I use a different trainer instead of this native trainer. The one I use is called Simple Trainer for GTA 5. It's really easy to use, and you actually need this if you plan on using the mega ramps maps, the ones that come with the .ini file. So just know that, but I'll touch on that more. And then for the Raven Rock type of maps, the ones that you've seen me do in some of my zombie apocalypse videos, you are going to need the map editor. But we're going to start with OpenIV and ScriptHook and the ScriptHook.net. So the first thing, like I said, OpenIV. All right, so once we have OpenIV downloaded, we're just going to go ahead and install it. We're going to hit yes on English. We're going to accept the agreement. And then we're just going to install it to the path that it has chosen. And it's going to actually have to download it, so just hit yes on that. Once it's done downloading and installing, you'll get this screen, and we're just going to hit close. Now, as you can see, we have the OpenIV shortcut on our desktop, so we're just going to go ahead and open that. And we're going to obviously select GTA 5 for Windows. And now we're going to have to place the GTA 5 folder location here. So obviously, wherever you have yours set up, do it. Mine is on my SSD, Steam Games, Steam Apps, Common, and then GTA, and then obviously this is the folder. Now, again, I mean, as you can probably tell, this is the Steam version, not the Rockstar Warehouse version. It should be the same thing, you just won't have the Steam Games stuff there. So wherever your GTA 5.exe is located, that folder is what you're going to want to need to do. And it'll say successfully GTA 5.exe. Now we're just going to hit continue. And obviously, do not forget to back up your original files. I'll touch on that a little bit more in a second here. And we can hit join, and now it's going to search. All right, so once everything's done setting up, this is the screen that you will see. Now, before we do anything, what we're going to want to do is back up our files. And the way you can do that is just go into, well, you can just hit up here, you just click on Open IV, and then you click this little arrow, Open Folder in Windows Explorer, and that'll pop up wherever your GTA 5 is located. You just click on it again. You can see all the files here. And what we're going to do is hit Control and A, and that'll obviously just select everything. And you can just, if you have a spot on another hard drive or wherever, you're just going to want to make a folder titled GTA 5 backup or something along those lines, so and then we're going to click into it, and we're going to right click and then paste. Now this is going to take a few minutes depending on how good your computer is. I'm not going to do that just because I have a ton of backups already, but just do that in case anything goes wrong. Now, like I was saying, this is sort of the downside of my method because unfortunately, since GTA is like 60 gigabytes worth of data, that you are going to be using up a lot of hard drive space. There are ways around this. I'll touch on it in a second here, but just for the time being, just go ahead and make a new folder, like I said, with the backup, and then paste everything in there. Once you have the backup folder, then you can go ahead and mess with the main GTA folder, and in case anything goes wrong, you always have that backup to go back on. All right, so now that we have your files backed up, what we're going to do is go into Tools in OpenIV. We're going to go to Asi Manager, and then from here, it says you need to install the Asi Loader, OpenIV ASI plugin. Otherwise, you cannot load the RPF or the modified RPF files, and then warning, do not play GTA Online, you will get banned. So we're just going to hit install and install. And now if we go into our folder, and you can see open iv.asi. So that is what we're going to need to do to get everything to work. Before we go any further, this is the point where my method is a little bit different than everybody else's method. So normally people would tell you to put a mods folder in your GTA 5 directory. And basically what you would do is just copy all of these RPF files in addition to the x64 folder and the update folder into this mod folder. So you would have two versions. You would have your regular version, and then you would have your mod version. I don't do that, and the reason I don't do that is, one, it got a little bit confusing for me at some points. It's not that hard to do, honestly. But also, I've seen on some forums that people who had a mod folder and they followed all the steps to go into regular GTA Online, they accidentally got banned because Rockstar's anti-cheat system somehow picked up, the mod folder, and I don't know, just a big hassle, and I didn't want to deal with that, and I don't think a lot of people want to deal with that either. So that's why I'm not going to be showing the mod folder method. Now, what I will do in the description on OpenIV's website, they have a tutorial. It's fairly straightforward. You can, follow these steps 1, 2, and it's all the way to, I think, 8 or 7. And you can, do it that way. Again, it's fairly straightforward. It's probably a little bit simpler than my method, but I guess you do sort of run the risk of being banned in GTA Online. Now, you may be wondering, how do you actually go on GTA Online? Like, how do you play if you have a bunch of mods in your main folder? And I will tell you guys in a second. First, what we're going to do is install ScriptHook and ScriptHook.net. So we'll start with ScriptHook first. Now this one, download it, extract it, go into the bin folder, and copy these into your main GTA directory. Now, this destination has 3 files with the same names. You probably aren't going to get this, but just hit replace the files anyway if you do. And as you can see here, we have ScriptHook, and we have the input, and we also have native trainer. Now, this one you don't need, really, but we'll just leave it there for the time being. We're going to go to scripthook.net now, and you're going to see these files, and all we're going to do is drag them into the main directory as well. Now, once you have that done, because the scripthook.net is for scripts, make a new folder in all lowercase letters and just title it scripts, and this is where we're going to put the scripts that use scripthook.net. Once we're done that, like I said, the simple trainer is the one that I use, so we're going to install this just because I like it better than the native trainer that he uses with the ScriptHook. This one, you have a few text files. You don't need to read those, really. All we're going to need is the trainer v.ini and then the trainer v.asi. Simple as just copying them and pasting them into the GTA 5 directory. And then finally, what we're going to do is install the map editor, because this is if you want to, have the mods like Raven Rock, like the oil rig. If you want to do the sort of map mods, you're going to need that. And we're just going to open that. And when you open it, you're going to see these 3 files. And these, as you can see, they are DLL files. So we're going to go into the scripts folder and then simply copy them into here. Now, for the map editor in particular, it does say to download and install the Visual C++ redistributable. If you don't have that, or if it doesn't work, then go here and hit that button and see if you don't have it, because obviously if you don't, it's not going to work. That's pretty much it, how to install those. Really easy to do. It's fairly straightforward. All we're doing is basically copying and then pasting them into this folder. Now, those are like the basic tools, I guess, to get started, because the simple trainer, like I said, if you do want to have an ini file like the mega ramps, you're going to need the simple trainer. The XML, you're going to need the map editor, and so on and so forth. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and show you guys, if we go into my GTA mods folder, now this looks crazy, so don't really pay too much attention to that aspect, but what I want to show you guys are those maps that I was talking about. So actually, I'm going to go into... Okay, so to show you guys what I'm talking about with the .ini files, I just downloaded this, or this is actually one of the mods I showcased a few days ago, or about a week ago. And what we're going to do is we downloaded it. We're going to show in folder here. We're going to drag it to our desktop. And then we're just going to extract it. And it's going to pop up over here. All right. So once we have it extracted, let's go ahead and delete that file. We're going to open this. And you're going to see it comes with 2 inis. Now, most of them will just come with 1 ini file, but this one was actually big enough that you needed 2. Regardless, doesn't really matter. All you're going to want to do for this is go into the main GTA 5 directory and simply copy and paste. And now, as you can see, they're here. And like I said, you do need the simple trainer, which is the trainer v.asi. If you don't have that, you can't actually load these. So you're going to need that. Anyway, that's it with that. Really easy to do. Now, getting into these XML files, these are a little bit trickier than the ini files. It's not just drag and drop. Because if we take a look at the Marlow Vineyard, so this is a mod that basically adds like a really cool custom like safe house, I guess, to the game. And we'll just go ahead and read this. And first of all, I just want to say definitely read the readmes in all of these mods. But this one and many of these XML maps have different ones you can choose from. So if your PC isn't as good, you're going to want to choose the low. If your PC is good, then you can choose the high, or, the ones with the pedestrian. So there's a few different versions. Obviously, he goes into detail on what each one adds. But what I'm going to show you guys is the full one. And actually, real quick, these also work with the ini, or some of the mod authors, they include an ini file. I wouldn't use that. I mean, maybe as a last resort, but the XML version, you get like the pedestrians and you get the full effect. So I'm going to show you guys the full. And if you guys paid attention to that README, you would know H is high, and then low, and then pedestrians plus. I'm just going to show you guys the one with no pedestrians, but it has all the props. So we're going to take this one. And by the way, you can drag all of these into your game folder. Like you don't need to just pick one. But what we're going to do is go into our scripts folder, and all we're going to do is drag and drop. Now, I will say, if you go on into the map editor page and you read this, you can actually have the game so where it auto loads maps. I wouldn't do that though, just because sometimes, and most of the time actually for me, it crashed my game. But as you can see here, it says you can automatically load maps by creating a directory in the scripts folder named auto load maps. And then all you do is put the XML file into that folder. So if you wanted to do that in the scripts folder, new folder, and you just put auto load maps. And then I would drag this into there, and it should auto load, but again, it could crash your system, so I wouldn't do that. So far we learned how to install scripts. The .asis, they go in your main GTA 5 directory, and then the .dlls, they go in your scripts folder. And we also learned how to install maps. Both of these are fairly easy to do. Where it gets a little bit harder is the vehicles, and this is where we're going to actually need OpenIV. The vehicles that I'm going to be showing you guys how to install, they don't really matter because for the most part, it's all the same method. It's just different folders in here. But I'm going to be taking the Lykan Hypersport as well as the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo X, and the reason is because this one actually has some tuning options, which I can show you guys about, but we'll just start with the Lykan Hypersport. And for this one in particular, and actually a few cars or car mods, the authors are actually making an add-on method, and then they're making a replace method. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys the replace method, and this is actually going to replace the T20, as you can see here. But again, if you guys want, maybe in a future sort of episode or whatever, then I can show you guys the add-on method. Regardless of the mod, you should always read the readmes, but in particular for the car mods, these are very important. So if we open this up, this is actually going to tell us where we need to replace the files for the T20. So as you can see, I'm going to put this to the right. So it says update 64, and it's, it goes on for quite a bit. So what we're going to do is go into OpenIV. We're going to come up here and hit edit. That's going to give us this. We're going to hit yes, and we're going to go to this file, or where this says to go. So it says update, then it says 64, then it says DLC packs, MP Lux 2, DLC RPF, X64, levels, GTA 5, vehicles, and then here's the file we need. If we open this up, we can see right here, it's the T20 files. And if we minimize this and we go into the T20 replace, these are the same files. All we're going to do is highlight these, drag them over, and if you pay attention to the size of the files, they'll actually change, so that's how you kind of know. If we do that, as you can see, they changed. That is pretty much it. Now, for a lot of the cars, you are going to need to change the vehicles.meta. And if we go into the README again, and we scroll down, it'll say the vehicles.meta, and it'll give you a file to go. So for that, we're going to go into update 64, DLC packs, MP Lux 2 DLC, and then from here, instead of going to 64, we're going to go to common, and then data, and then levels, GTA 5, and then you can see vehicles.meta. We're just going to go ahead and drag and drop this. And then finally, we're going to need to change the carcoals.meta, which if we scroll down again, you can see it says common, and then data, and then here carcoals.meta. So we're just going to drag and drop this in here. And now we have successfully installed our first modded car. At the beginning of this video, I said there are automated tools that basically do this for you, but I don't know. I trust myself more than I do a program, so that's why I'm showing you guys the manual method. If you do want to try out the vehicle installer mods, go for it, but if they don't work, then you can't really blame me. The last thing I say before we move into the second car is that, especially if you do a lot of these vehicle mods, you will notice that sometimes the vehicles.meta, or even this file, you will have already replaced that. And I'm not going to touch on this in this episode because it's really complicated at that point. But some of the readmes you will have to actually, if you want everything to work properly, you will have to go into these files and edit them yourself and put the lines of code that the author, he gives to you. Because let's just say, for example, we had a car that replaced this let's just say the carcoals.meta, just because that's where we're at in OpenIV. Let's just say we had a previous car that replaced this, and then we come with this one and replace it again. Well, the first car that we have installed, that whatever files it needed in this folder are gone. So it gets a little bit confusing when you have a lot of cars to install and mod in, and that's where the problems come from for the most part. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. If you do plan on modding a ton of cars in the game, if at some point you accidentally override one of these, one of the files you've previously overwritten, the car that you're trying to install may not work. I know that probably sounded really confusing, but for the people who did understand me and who are having problems, that could be the case. Now, like I said, the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, what we're going to be doing for this one, again, we're going to go into the README, and it says, here's where we got to go. And we're going to do the exact same thing like we just did for the Lycan. So we're going to find the Kuruma files, and as you can see, now they're going to be in a different folder. So we're going to go into Update, 64, DLC packs, and then this one is going to be in Patch Day 2 NG, and then DLC RPF, 64 levels, GTA 5, and then vehicles. And then from here, we can just make sure as you can see, Kuruma. Just copy these in and paste them. Now for this and a couple other cars you may have downloaded that have these tuning options, you're actually going to need to go to another spot or a separate spot to make sure you have these correctly installed. So for this one, again, the README section has where we have to go. So DLC packs, and then MP Heist, DLC RPF, X64, levels, and then we're going to go into MP Heist, and then vehicle mods, and then from here, Kuruma mods, and all we're going to do is copy these, and then drag them over, and it'll replace all of these. So now we have some tuning options for the car we just installed, for the Mitsubishi Lancer. All right, so hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Hopefully I made that as easy to understand as possible. But now that we have everything installed, we have our 2 car mods, we have a ramp, we have the XML file with the Marlowe Vineyard, and we have Script Hook and the map editor and all that stuff installed. So we have the basics down. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to run the game and see if it works. So we're just going to hit Run GTA. If it crashes at start, something obviously went wrong, but it should load in if you followed my instructions. Okay, so we're now in GTA, and now it's time to test and see if the mods we just installed work. So for the simple trainer, we're going to hit F3, and bam. As you can see, everything is working. Now, to actually get the .ini file to spawn, we're going to go into object spawning. Then we're going to go all the way down to save load objects from objects ini. Then we're going to search. And as you can see, it's got 1 and 2. All we're going to do for that is hit enter, and it'll load in. I'm not going to do that just yet. To check and see if we have the modded vehicles working, we're going to go into vehicle spawning, and then we're going to go into the super, and then obviously the T20 is the Lycan, and bam, that is not the T20 anymore. It's now the Lycan. And then for the other one, we're going to go into sports, and then it was the Kuruma. So just to check and see. And bam, there's the Lancer Evo. Going back to the object spawning, I will show you guys now. So once you're here, you're just going to hit enter. It'll like teleport you wherever the mod is. And as it's loading in, you'll see it, bam. And at the bottom, it says 497 objects have been loaded. And now we're good to go. To delete these, if you ever want to, we're going to go back into object spawning. And then you can either just hit delete last 200 or 2,000 objects. You know, that's up to you, but that's just the easiest way. There's another way, but that's just the easiest. Okay, so I completely messed up actually on the .xml files. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I am not a pro at all, but it's nothing major. So if I go into the map editor and we load it up and we type out vineyard full h.xml, it'll say on the bottom left the file was empty or does not exist, and that's because I actually told you guys to install it in the wrong spot. So sorry about that, but if I go into my GTA folder here, you don't actually put it in the scripts folder. I forgot, I kind of blinked. So we're just going to delete this. You actually just paste it into your main GTA 5 directory folder. So we're going to go into full, and then H, and then this is where you have to put it. So we'll restart the game. I'll be right back. But just to demonstrate it while we're here at least, you're going to hit F7 to load the map editor. Then we're going to come down to load map, XML. And the downside to this one, as you just saw me do, you can't actually, or you have to type out what the XML file is. So just make sure you know them, or you have the folder open so you know how to spell everything. But you just put the name in. And then I don't think you need to put XML or .xml, but I do it anyway. And then as you can see, it actually might work. Maybe we don't need to restart the game. It'll start loading. It'll probably lag your game. Just let it be. Don't do anything. And hopefully by the end of it, it'll have the map loaded in. Sometimes, I know for me, if you do exceed the prop limit, which I know some of the maps do, especially if you do 2 maps, or if you load 2 maps, it'll crash your game. So if it's crashing your game, then try a lower version of, you know, whatever it is, whatever the map is. All right, so once it's done loading, in the bottom left, it'll say loaded map. Now we're just going to go ahead and teleport over there. Okay, so we're over here, and one thing you will notice is that some of these maps that you will install and try. They make your game lag a lot. Like, I'm at about 30 or so frames right now when I normally get 60. So if you don't have the best computer, it may not be the smartest idea to especially do some of these higher end maps. But as you can see, I mean, it's pretty cool. You got the runway and all that, people down there. So yeah, it's fairly simple to do, like I said. Unfortunately, I'm sorry about telling you guys to put it initially in the wrong spot. Hopefully you corrected that. But I mean, that's pretty much it when it comes to modding GTA. I mean, obviously there's a lot more advanced stuff. There's other plugins for scripts. There's like a Rage plugin that's for LSPDFR mod. I'm not going to go into depth on that because that's a little bit more advanced. But the script hook, the scripthook.net, the simple trainer, and the map editor, those are like, again, the main ones you're going to need. Now, I will end this by showing you guys, because I'm sure there's people still wondering, all right, modding's cool and everything, but what if I want to go back into GTA Online? Well, to do that, like I said, I don't use the mods folder. My method, you are going to need a little bit more hard drive space. So what I do, once I have my mods installed, once you have your mods installed in the GTA directory, just copy this. And similarly to like we made the backup for the clean save, just make a folder that says GTA 5 modded, and then copy all of these files into that. And then what you can do is you're gonna have to alternate between these two folders on, say another hard drive or wherever else you have them saved. You're gonna alternate between those two, whether if you want to go into GTA Online or if you want to play with mods. So for me, again, I have a few more modded folders just because I have folders with different mods in them. But for me, if I go into the modded folder, say I wanted to record something in single player, a mod, I'll copy this. First I'll delete these files. We'll just go ahead and delete. It'll say they're too big to recycle. Just delete them permanently. And then I'll copy these into here, and it'll start going. And it'll take, a few minutes. So that's another downside, but it'll work. And alternatively, if I want to play GTA Online, I'll come into here and I'll just copy these over. And that's basically what I do. Again, it's not really, I don't want to say normal, because I'm sure other people do it, but it's the way that I do it. It's the way that works for me, and hopefully it works for you as well. I know this video has been extremely long, but I wanted to make sure you guys sort of understood what and how to mod initially in the game. If there's enough of you guys who want me to continue this and to go more in depth with, even like graphical mods like ENBs and stuff, or the other plugins, the Rage plugin, the LUA plugin, if you guys want me to do that as separate videos, I will. Obviously, just let me know in the comments. But thank you guys for watching. Definitely go ahead and drop a like on this video if you haven't already, so other people can see this video if they are like interested in modding but don't really know where to start. Hopefully this tutorial helped you guys enough. Ask away in the comment section if you have any questions, and either me or other people that know about modding and know a lot, they can help you as well. See you guys in the next video though. As always, it's your boy Saintsfan. I'm out. Peace.